So today's topic is about bacteriophage. So what is bacteriophage? Bacteriophage can be defined as virus that infects bacteria, obligate intracellular parasitize. It parasitizes the bacteria and multiply. It is intracellular, so it multiplies within the bacteria by making use of some or all the host biosynthetic machinery. So basically, by definition, bacteriophage is a virus which infect and parasitize bacteria and multiply or replicate within the bacteria by using some or all the host biosynthetic machinery for replication. The Twart and Hare Riley in 1915 and 1917, they found that the broth culture of certain intestinal bacteria could be dissolved by addition of bacteria-free filtrate obtained from sewage. So he was able to, these two people, they were able to found and conclude that there is something within the sewage filtrate which is bacteria free and that is capable of dissolving or killing the broth cultures of certain intestinal bacteria. So if it is bacteria free, it is something smaller than the bacteria and that is capable of lysing the bacteria. And phage means to eat. Bacteriophage means it can eat the bacteria, it can kill the bacteria. Diversity. There are at least 12 distinct groups of bacteriophages and these are structurally and genetically diverse. And the best known phages, the common phages are which we take for studying is the phages which infect the E. coli, like even phages like T2, T4 and T6. These are lytic phages, and then lambda phages which are lysogenic phages. What is lytic and lysogenic phages? I will tell you later. Then is these bacteria are parasitized by the viruses which are able to lyse the bacteria and replicate within the bacteria. Now where are they present? They are present widely in nature and in close association with bacteria and can be readily isolated from feces, sewage and other natural sources where there is a mixed population of bacteria. Coming to ultrastructure of bacteriophage. So for studying the ultrastructure of bacteriophage, basically we take the most common phage which infect the Escherichia coli and these are known as T-even phages like T2, T4, T6. So they are basically used as prototype to study the bacteriophage structure and function. So T-even phages, these are spermatozoids or tadpole-like structure and they consist of 5 parts. On the right side diagram, you can appreciate that it is a tadpole-like structure and it has 5 parts. The upper part is head part. You can see there is a tightly packed DNA or nucleic acid. Now this nucleic acid, most commonly it is double-stranded DNA, but it can be single-stranded or double-stranded RNA also, but never both. Then under this, below this we have neck region and then we have a tail region. Now tail region, if you see, there is it is like a hollow core with a contractile sheath, and then at the end we have the terminal end, we have base plate, and base plate has prong-like structure which is called tail fiber. So it has head, neck, tail and tail plate and tail fiber. These are the 5 parts of the structure of bacteriophage. So this is the morphology of bacteriophage. On the left side diagram, you can see it is tadpole shaped and hexagonal head. This is hexagonal head and a cylindrical tail. Now head, which is hexagonal, it is tightly packed with a core of double-stranded DNA. And this is surrounded by the protein coat which is called capsid. So it is a nucleocapsid. So nucleic acid is tightly packed and is surrounded by a protein capsid. Then below this we have neck region. which is short, and then followed by this, below this we have tail. Tail region is composed of, this is contractile sheath, and inside this is hollow structure. Okay, this portion is hollow structure, and this is surrounded by a contractile sheath. Then at the end, which is the terminal end, we have terminal base plate. Okay, these are the pins which are helpful in attaching, and then we have, these are prong like structure which are tail fibers. So at the end, terminal base plate, we have prongs or tail fibers attached. Life cycle. The fage, they exhibit two different types of life cycle. One is lytic cycle, and then we have lysogenic cycle. Lytic cycle, as you understand by the term lytic, it causes the lysis of the bacteria. So here what happens, here the phage, the phage DNA basically, it multiplies within the host bacterium, and it undergoes replication and produce new viral particles, and these new virus particles, they are released. How they are released? By lysing or rupturing the host bacterium. So there is a lysis, there is a replication of the phage DNA within the bacterium DNA, and then there is a new virus progeny, they are produced, and they are released by lysing or rupturing the host bacterium. The example under this is T1 phages like T2, T4 and T6. Then is lysogenic cycle. Here the phage DNA, it gets integrated into the bacterial DNA, but it does not cause any lysis of the host cell wall. So here lysogenic cycle means it is incorporated, the phage DNA, it gets integrated within the host genome or host DNA or bacterial DNA, and without causing any lysis of the host cell wall. The example under this is lambda phages. Now talking about in details about this cycle, the first is lytic cycle. The first step, if you must have understood the replication process of viruses, so it will be easier to understand now the replication cycle or cycle of bacteriophages. So first step in lytic cycle is adsorption, which is very important step, without which the replication cannot take place. And for this, the phage particles, they come in contact with the bacterial cells by random collisions. Now these phages, they attach to the surface of susceptible bacterium by its tail, the tail fiber basically, and this process is specific and it depends on the presence of receptor sites. Now these have to be very complementary chemical groups which are present as a receptor on the bacterial cell for the terminal base plate of the phages. So there has to be, these receptors are specific, there is a specific adsorption or attachment of the phage tail fiber with these receptors which are present on the bacterial cell. Cofactors like cations, they are necessary for adsorption to take place. So in this diagram, if you see, this is adsorption, this is bacteria, okay, this is bacterial DNA. Now this is bacteriophage. Now through this, the tail fiber, these are the receptors. So these have to be complementary receptors with complementary chemical groups which have receptor sites are complementary to the chemical groups of the bacteriophage of the terminal plate of the bacteriophage. So they will adsorb to this site, and then the next step would be penetration. So penetration takes place when the phage DNA is injected into the bacterial body through the hollow core. The infection of bacterium by a naked nucleic acid is known as transfection. The base plate and the tail fibers are held firmly against the bacterial cell. The hollow core pierces the cell wall. The contractile tail sheath injects the phage DNA. After penetration, the empty head and the tail of the phage, it remain outside the bacterium as a empty or ghost cell. So by this definition, it's very important that the infection of bacterium by the nucleic acid is known as transfection. And how the penetration takes place? Basically, what is happening, the base plate, when it attaches or adsorbs to the receptor sites present on the bacterial cell, the contractile sheath of the tail, it will contract. Okay, and the hollow empty core, it will be pressed or pushed, it will bend on and it will be pushed, and through that the hollow core, the DNA, the Phage DNA will be injected like a injection. Okay, will be injected into the bacterial DNA, and the outer part of the head and tail, which is empty after penetration, it remains outside the bacterium as an empty or ghost cell. Clear? Then is synthesis of Phage component. Third step is synthesis of Phage components. Now, once it has penetrated the host bacterium, then it will be synthesizing its own component. How this happens? It shut down the synthesis of bacterial protein, DNA and RNA of the host bacterium thesis. And it starts its own replication. By first products which will be synthesized are the early proteins, and which are enzymes, which are important for replication. And then we have later proteins, which are protein subunits of the Phage head and tail. So the third step is the synthesis of Phage component by shutting down the synthesis of the bacterial protein, DNA and RNA. Now, once these components have been formed, have been synthesized, they are independent, they are present separately. So need to be assembled. And when they are assembled, these components which are assembled, they are called as mature phages. The Phage DNA, head protein and tail protein are synthesized separately in the bacterial cell. The assembly of the Phage components into a mature infective Phage particle is known as maturation. So all the components which have been synthesized, like the Phage DNA, head protein, tail protein, they are all synthesized separately and present in the bacterial cell. So they need to be assembled in a proper form to form mature infective Phage particle, and this process is called maturation, assembly and maturation. Release of progeny Phage. Now, once it is produced, it is released. Now, released, as it is a lytic cycle, there would be lysis of the bacterial cells. And basically, bacterial cells are lysed by the production, they have to produce the enzyme, lysozyme, which weakens the bacterial cell wall. And the bacterial cell wall is weakened and it assumes a spherical shape. And this leads to releases of the bacterial cell wall and release of mature daughter phages. This is summary or brief of what we have covered, the lytic cycle. So starting with the first step, the first step is that first step is attachment or adsorption. So here it is showing the bacterium which we have taken is Escherichia coli cell, which is the most common cell bacteria which we study, and phages is T1 phage. So this is bacterial cell, this is bacterial DNA or chromosome. This is bacteriophage. It will attach to the bacterial surface to the receptor, which are complementary to the chemical groups present on the phage metal plate. So once it is adsorbed, then there would be the injection of the Phage DNA will take place, and the other part would stay as an empty ghost cell. So it is injected, Phage DNA is injected, and then it is second step is, so first two steps is in the here adsorption plus penetration, and then we have breakdown of the bacterial chromosome by Phage specific enzyme. So when it has injected into the Phage chromosome, it will produce enzymes like lysozyme, which will degrade the bacterial DNA. Once the bacterial chromosome totally broken down, it will be using to the basically bacterial cell to replicate or synthesize its own product. So it will replication of Phage chromosome using bacterial materials and Phage enzymes will take place, and then after this there is synthesis. The step is synthesis here, and then once these products are formed like Phage heads, Phage sheath, base plate and tail fibers, they are synthesized separately and are formed later by middle protein and the early protein, middle protein and late proteins. So expression of Faj genes to produce Faj structural components take place, followed by, once these are formed, they have to be arranged and assembled. So assembly of these progeny Faj takes place. That head, the DNA goes into the head, and then tail fiber, it attaches, the tail part attaches. So it completes the mature Faj DNA is produced. After this, it produces a lysozyme which weakens this bacterial cell wall, and it becomes spherical, and the lysis takes place very easily, and there is release of the form of the daughter DNA or the progeny phages by lysis of the cell wall. Is it clear? Then is lysogenic cycle, the second cycle. Here what happens, the phages, they enter into symbiotic relationship with the bacteria. Once they enter the host cell, the temperate phage, the temperate phage is basically the phage which does not cause the lysis of the host DNA or host bacteria. So following entry, the host cell, the temperate phage nucleic acid becomes integrated with the bacterial chromosome. This integrated phage nucleic acid is known as prophage. So it is a lysogenic cycle is different from the lytic cycle because it runs or it enters into the symbiotic relationship with the bacterial cell, and once it enters the host cell, the phage DNA, it integrates with the bacterial chromosome, and this integrated phage DNA is known as prophage. Now what does this prophage do? The prophage, it behaves like segment of the host chromosome and it replicates synchronously with it. So here what is happening? Here replication is not independent. In the lytic cycle, the host DNA, the bacterium DNA and the phage DNA were independently replicating. Here the replication is synchronous with each other. Like phage DNA or prophage, which is incorporated or integrated within the bacterial chromosome, it acts like an extended segment or segment of the host chromosome, and it replicates along with it synchronously with the bacterial chromosome. And this process or phenomena is known as lysogeny. The bacterium that carries the prophage within its genome is called lysogenic bacteria. Okay, the integrated phage is known as prophage, and the bacteria that carries such prophage within its genome is called lysogenic bacterium, and the phenomena is called lysogeny. Now this prophage, it has the capability to confer certain new properties on the lysogenic bacteria, which means it can transfer the property or genes which can code for particular function, like gene for drug resistance, antibiotic resistance, or for some toxin production. So this can confer such properties to the lysogenic bacterium. This is known as lysogenic conversion or phage conversion. The lysogenic bacterium, they are resistant to reinfection by the same or related phage. This is known as superinfection immunity of the lysogenic bacteria. So this is brief of lysogenic cycle. The first step, the adhesion, the attachment, the adsorption of the phage to the bacterial cell is same. First two steps are same. The example under lysogenic phage is lambda phage, and here what will happen? We have a bacterium lysogenic strain. Okay. The first step would be adsorption and then penetration. Once it's penetrate, what will happen? It will the phage DNA will integrate into the bacterial DNA. So this is phage DNA integrated into the bacterial DNA, and this is known as prophage. Alright, and then after this undergoes lysogenic cycle, which means it will replicate along with the bacterial chromosome. There is a synchronous replication. So this will go on and on like bacterial replication, right? What will happen in some of the cases? This prophage, this can undergo excision. So once it is excised, it will induce the lytic cycle. That would be rare, not very common phenomena, but could be possible that it will cause the induction of the lytic cycle, in which again it will cause the release of phages, lambda phages. Now these are lysogenized phages. They are not the normal phages, because this has integration of the prophage. So replication will take place, but there will be induction of the lytic cycle at the end. So briefly discussing the differences between the lytic cycle and lysogenic cycle. In the lytic cycle, there is a lysis, there is a destruction. Now destruction of what? The viral DNA, it will destroy the cell DNA, bacterial cell DNA, and will take over the cell function and destroy the cell. So lysis is always there. And the virus replicates and produces progeniphages. There is a viral replication plus production of the daughter phages, progeniphages, right? And there are symptoms of the viral infection. So it's a virulent type of infection take place in this. In the lysogenic cycle, the viral DNA merges with the cell DNA. So there is the integration. And this is called prophage, and it does not cause any lysis, okay? So there is no lysis. And here there is no production of progeny. It replicates along with the bacterial chromosome, and there is no production of the progeny as compared to lytic cycle. And this is a virulent cycle, okay? There are no symptoms of viral infection, and there is a temperate viral replication take place, which means there is a synchronous viral replication taking place. Temperate means there is no lysis of the host bacterial chromosome or the genome. So these are the difference between lytic cycle and lysogenic cycle. So by definition, lytic cycle is the main. Here what is happening? Replication, viral replication. Along with, at the end, you will see there is destruction, and there is a formation of new virus cells, which are released by the lysis of the bacterial DNA or bacterial cell. Then is lysogenic cycle. There is no lysis, and there is a integration of phage DNA into the host genome. Then second is integration of the viral DNA. Integration is not the step of lytic cycle. It does not take place in lytic cycle. In lysogenic cycle, there is a integration of the viral DNA into the host cell DNA. Now, is there any DNA hydrolysis, host DNA hydrolysis? Host DNA hydrolysis is not present in the lysogenic cycle, although it integrates with the host DNA. Here, the host DNA is hydrolyzed. So everything which is hydrolyzing, lysis, that is part of lytic cycle. Stages. In lytic cycle, we have 5 stages which are common in the viral replication, like attachment or adsorption, then penetration, biosynthesis of the component, then assembly and maturation, and finally lysis. In lysogenic life cycle, we have 6 stages. We have attachment, penetration, first 2 steps are same, then integration, then excision, in some of the cases infection and recombination. Viral DNA replication in lytic cycle, it is independent. It is not dependent upon the host genome. It is independent replication. Whereas as in lysogenic cycle, the viral DNA replication, it is synchronous with the host DNA, and it is dependent upon the host DNA. Virulence. The lytic cycle is avirulent. Lytic cycle is virulent type of cycle, and lysogenic cycle is non-virulent or avirulent cycle. Lysis of host cell. It is important step of the lytic cycle, and these are released by the production of enzyme lysozyme, which weakens the host cell wall, and it becomes spherical, and there is lysis of the virus or phage DNA, that is the daughter phages from the bacterial cell wall. Then is lysogenic cycle. There is no lysis of the host cell. The time for lytic cycle is short period, and for lysogenic cycle it is long term. So it is the comparable, or you can say showing the 2 cycles of the bacteriophages. The The right side is lysogenic cycle, left side is lytic cycle. The first step is there is the phage. This is bacterial cell, this is bacterial chromosome, this is phage, bacteriophage. First step is the phage, it attaches to the host cell and injects the DNA. So this contractile sheet will contract and there would be injection of the phage DNA like an injection through this, and this part will remain outside like an empty shell. So once it is penetrated, what next will happen? This is the common step. Okay, so this is bacterial DNA, this is phage DNA. The phage DNA circularizes and enters lytic cycle or lysogenic cycle. It will either follow this cycle or this cycle. So after this, in lytic cycle, what will happen? There would be synthesis of there would be replication of the phage DNA, which is independent of the bacterial chromosome, and there would be formation. New phage DNA and proteins are synthesized and assembled into the virion. So there is replication, and then there is synthesis of the phage component, and then there is assembly of the phage components, and then there is formation, proper organized formation of the new phages. Then there is a release of these virions, phage virions, by the lysis of the bacterial cell wall. So they are released. Then is in the lysogenic cycle, up till the cycle is same, then there would be the phage DNA which is injected, it gets integrated with the bacterial genome. Phage DNA integrates within the bacterial chromosome by recombination, and it is called as prophage. The integrated phage DNA with the bacterial chromosome is called prophage. After this integrates or replicates normally. So bacterial division, it replicates like bacterial division. Okay, and then number of cell divisions take place. So it will continue like that. Okay, this is a synchronous replication taking place here, and then in some of the cases, occasionally, the prophage may excise from the bacterial chromosome. This part may get excised in some of the cases, very rare, occasionally, by another recombinant event initiating a lytic cycle, in which this part will get excised sometime, and then this will enter this cycle, lytic cycle, and this will continue, and this will be finally releasing the phage DNA by the lysis of the bacterial cell following the lytic cycle. Significance of phages. Now, significance of phages, the virulent phages, which are the lytic phages, and then temperate phages, which are the lysogenic phages. Virulent phages, they are useful in or relevant in phage typing, phage therapy, in phage display. And temperate phages, they are, as they can be integrated within the host chromosome, they are able to confer certain properties. So they can alter certain properties in the bacterium in which they are integrated, because they carry the gene which can code for different properties like toxin production, antigenic property, transduction, cloning factor. So they can act as good cloning vector for genetic manipulation. Phage typing. Now, what is phage typing? It is important for identification and typing of bacteria. And why it is useful? Because the interaction which takes place between the phage and bacteria, it is very specific process. So this property has been used for identifying and typing of bacteria, especially those bacteria which cannot be distinguished serologically and biochemically. So it is a very important epidemiological tool for typing various bacteria which are indistinguishable. Host range can be made more specific by adaptation. Specificity may be up to genus level, to species level, subspecies level, biotype. So to what level they are able to distinguish or identify, on that basis we do the phage typing. It is mainly used for intraspecies typing of Salmonella typhi and Staph aureus. You see the plate. On the right side, it is a plate which has lawn culture of nutrient agar, and this is a bacterial colonies have been cultured in a lawn culture form. And on the left side, we have You can see many scales, and these have been defined specific area for phage to be incorporated, and this is incorporated in the form of routine test dose. Now, routine test dose is the dilution which is the highest dilution, which when given will produce confluent lysis. So if you see the lysis, the clearing of the area on the right side plate, it shows the lysis of the bacteria by that particular phage where that space is identified. So when you phage type this type of bacteria, like the areas which have been cleared, these are called plaque, and these are cleared by the presence of the phage which we have poured or given in the test dose. So you have to write or report it like this: the phage which is lysing that particular bacteria, the number of that phage, like 52. In this it is 52, then oblique 52A, and then 80. This is the designation we give for the susceptible phage, and this is called phage typing. So the process is what I've told you just now. Just I will repeat it for more clarity. We have this is culture of bacterial culture. Then we have a plate, nutrient agar plate. We are producing the lawn culture of this bacterial culture, and then we have we put the bacteriophages on defined quadrants. Like here we have 4 quadrants. We are putting phage A, B, C and D, right? And once we are putting this in the routine test dilution, which I've told you, which is the highest concentration of phage, which will cause the lysis of the bacteria. So after putting this, we are incubating this overnight. Next day we will see the clearing of the area of the colonies, bacterial colony by the phages, which is called plaque, and here it is only forming in case of first quadrant, which is phage. So it would be reported as phage, right? Supposedly it is also lies by phage C, then it would be phage A oblique phage C. This is how we designate the phage typing. Then we can do plague assay also. This is done for lytic phages. Now lytic phages, they are enumerated by plague assay. Now plague, I have already told you what it is. It is a clear area which is formed by lysis of bacteria, and each plague, it arises from single infectious phage. So by this you can titrate the number of viable phages present. So it helps in plague assay by titrating the number of viable phages, because single viable phage will cause the single plague. The infectious particle that give rise to plague is called plague forming unit. So it helps in plague assay. Therapeutic uses of bacteriophages, that they are able to kill bacteria. So they have been used therapeutically for various bacterial infection, like staphylococcal skin disease, skin infection caused by Pseudomonas, Klebsiella, Proteus, E. coli, Pseudomonas aeruginosa, infection in cystic fibrosis patient, neonatal sepsis, surgical wound infections. Now coming to the significance of lysogenic conversion or lysogenic phages. So lysogenic phages are basically, they carry gene that can enhance the virulence of the bacterial host. So basically, some example is like some of the phages, they carry gene which code for toxin, that can encode for toxin. Now these genes, once integrated into the bacterial chromosome, which is part of the lysogenic cycle, will cause the harmless or avirulent bacteria to release potent toxin, and that can cause that particular disease. Example under this is Vibrio cholerae. If it is infected with phage, it will which code for the cholera toxin, it will produce cholera. So it would be more virulent. Similarly, E. coli phage, it is infected with phage lambda or lambda phage, it will produce Shiga-like toxin. So these are the various genes which will be carried by the bacteria and will produce particular toxin and will cause that particular disease, like diarrhea in case of Escherichia coli, Clostridium botulinum, Phage infected produces botulinum toxin, which is important cause of food poisoning or botulism. Corynebacterium diphtheria, if it is only lysogenized by the beta phage, then only it will produce diphtheria toxin and will cause diphtheria. Otherwise, it will not be that virulent, that fatal. Streptococcus pyogenes infected with TD12, it codes for its erythrogenic toxin, which causes scarlet fever, commonly in children. So bacteriophages, they act as carrier for genes, various genes from one bacterium to another. So this is known as transduction. Example under this is plasmid mediated drug resistance in Staphylococcus. So they are not just carrying the gene, they are transferring the gene from one bacterium to another. This is called transduction. Similarly, the toxin production by diphtheria bacillus it is determined by the presence of beta phage. Suppose it is not infected with the beta phage, or there is reversal of this, then it will become avirulent. It won't be producing any bacterial toxin. So it depends upon what property that particular phage DNA is carrying and incorporating in the host chromosome, and is transferring to the other bacteria also. So the last important significance or use of bacteriophages, they can be used as cloning vectors in various genetic manipulations. That's all for today. Thank you.